What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to 4Strategy Gaming. I've got a commentary for you today between EG's Idra and ESC GoOdy. We can see GoOdy spawning here in the 12 o'clock position as our purple Terran player, and here in the 9 o'clock we do have Idra as the green Zerg. Has been quite some time since I've commentated a game with Idra in it, so I am of course looking forward to this, Idra being one of my favorite Zerg players. I do commentate, it seems, a lot of games with GoOdy. GoOdy certainly a strong player. I definitely enjoy casting games with him in it. I've seen some pretty interesting games from him actually in the past few days, so looking forward to see what he plans to do in this game in particular. We can see right now Idra moving across the map with that Overlord. He is heading down to that 6 o'clock position, unfortunately nowhere near where GoOdy is, so we'll be quite some time before that Overlord gets anywhere relevant in terms of relation to GoOdy's base. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, back over here, let's keep an eye on what Idra's got going on. A few more supply until we see either a pool or hatchery getting placed at that natural expansion. And interested to see precisely what GoOdy decides to do. Let's take a look. Anything fancy going on? A little bit fast on that racks. Typically seeing that at 12 supply, we can see instead coming down at 11. And then also the 11 refinery. So I'm assuming a Reaper opening. It is quite possible here from GoOdy, holding off on that SCV production to get up that faster barracks and that faster refinery. So hopefully he does some damage with that, because that does actually, of course, hurt him slightly economically. Anytime that he wasn't building those SCVs and in times where he should otherwise be doing that will hurt him. So hopefully if he does open up with Reaper or whatever he decides to do. And what is that? I've never noticed that before. Look at that holographic Zergling. That is awesome. Is there one over here too? I would have to assume that looks like the hologram pedestal. That is really cool. I've never seen that before. Maybe it's just me being unaware of what's going on in this game. But anyways, yes, there is an awesome Zergling. We can see right now Tech Lab is getting placed on that rack. So GoOdy will in fact be coming out with that opening Reaper. There's that orbital command transition as well. What has Idra done? Fast hatchery into spawning pool, and where is that extractor? That should be coming soon over here as well. Idra deciding to go hatch first. Obviously on a map this side can be quite effective. There is that extractor finally. Looks like a drone scout will be finally moving out right now as well for Idra. Loving the placement here of this Overlord, spotting any SCV scouts, and if there's any sort of shenanigans going on, he will be well aware of that in well prior to it actually being too effective. So that's something you should always be doing if you don't already, spotting that expansion with that Overlord that will allow you to see any sort of harassment from your opponent. Here we go. Reaper is out right now. SCV production keeping up. I'm just saying stuff right now. I don't know what I'm doing. We are seeing a transition, a follow-up into a Marine instead of coming out with the second Reaper. One Reaper going to actually be enough. And here we go. SCV Scout dropping down the bunker. So GoOdy getting ready to try to place his bunker down. Pulling off for the SCV, though. He doesn't want to take too much loss there. And there we go. Reaper coming down. And let's see how much damage he can do. And if the SCV is actually going to be able to finish building that. We do have a couple Zerglings out right now. 4 more just about to pop as well. And look at this Reaper, 5 kills already. Do we have some more reinforcement Zerglings? There's 2 over there, 2 more coming out of here, and some more as well. Is he gonna kill the SCV? Yes, he does. So the SCV does finally get taken out, but it looks like GoOdy has finally paid himself off there for the amount of loss that he took from not building those SCVs. Take a look at that Reaper. 9 kills right now. Definitely worthwhile engagement there for GoOdy. Certainly paid off for him. Let's take a look at the units lost tab. So yes, GoOdy is in a good position. Looks like he has killed 3 workers already, and then besides that, killing some Zerglings as well. So there you go. Very awesome play there by the Reaper. Metabolic boost coming out right now. That transition is getting ready as well for GoOdy. And does the Reaper make it alive? No, he does not. Queen getting that killing blow. So back over here inside of GoOdy's base, a expansion transition quite expected with that Reaper opening. He is, as we can see, also coming out the factory, so we'll start to be teching up as well. All sorts of options. Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellion being one of the prominent options that you will see because it's, well, very, very effective. GoOdy's expansion just about finished. We'll be grabbing that orbital command as well. We can also see the second refinery is up right now, so obviously, yes, teching himself up, and there we go. The Hellion is coming out, and the Tech Lab researching that Infernal Pre-Igniter. Now, did he spot the attachment? Yes, he did. So right now, Idra is aware that there's a factory with a Tech Lab, and it's building something. So that's almost leading him to expect Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellions. Again, just the other option would be what? A fast tank? That's not really the the most useful of things. Hellions this early in the game, much more useful for Terran players. That super quick tank wouldn't be nearly as effective, especially to follow up that Reaper harassment. It looks like the Hellion did take one shot from that Zergling, but we'll finally be able to take it out after the fact. The Infernal Pre-Igniter getting close to finish right now. We do have a starport building a medevac as well, so I'm probably expecting a drop here from GoOdy. The Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellion drop can be pretty devastating depending on how Idra is prepared, but look at this spine crawler in the main resource line. That's going to help him quite a bit when that drop does eventually come, if GoOdy happens to drop in the main, but I of course expect him to. Trying to drop in this natural doesn't really do much for him. He'd have to go all along the side, likely to be spotted there by possible overlords, and yeah, all sorts of problems could arise. We have the bunker coming out for GoOdy here as well, getting ready to defend himself while he's pushing out with this Hellion drop. We can see, there we go, 2 Hellions again picked up. Probably, yes, there's a third. Will he wait for a fourth? No, it actually looks like GoOdy will, in fact, be heading out right now. The expansion has been placed down, so should be transferring over some workers. There we go, SCVs making their way across, and here comes that Hellion drop, but the Overlord spotting it, so Idra should be prepared. 3 Hellions. He needs to keep these alive to do much damage. The Spinecrawler getting 2 shots off, and a third on that Hellion. Zerglings swooping up as well. Queen moving on in, and GoOdy losing one of the Hellions, taking significant damage to the other 2 as well, and really didn't end up doing too much damage in that engagement. So unlike his initial drop, or his initial harassment with that Reaper, looks like this follow-up harassment didn't do quite nearly as much damage. And do we have another expansion? Yes, we do. GoOdy getting ready for a quick third here as well. That's a lot of resources invested, and that's partially why he also came out with this bunker, because due to this expansion coming down, he does not have a lot of early game units. You can take a look here, sitting with only 3 unit producing production buildings here with that Rax, Starport, and Factory. So pretty lacking as to what he would have if he were just on 2 bases. Now we do have the Overlord moving across right now, and do we have any? Look at this, Viking just popped right now, so the Viking will of course be doing some Overlord hunting, and these 2 right now looking to be in a bit of danger. Idra moving across the map with those Zerglings. He has his third coming, but as mentioned prior, we also have a third coming here for GoOdy. Idra also working at these back rocks right now, providing himself some method of entrance into this back expansion. It looks like we are seeing another drop come down from GoOdy. GoOdy wants to try this again after that first pretty much botched attempt. Now what is that? Oh, did he catch the first Overlord? Yes, he did, and it looks like he's moving directly into position. Now this Overlord's scouting out. What did he end up seeing? What did Idra end up seeing? Pretty much saw all the production builds. Here comes a drop right now inside of the main. The Hellions getting ready to try to get a little bit of redemption, and look at that. Lots of damage from those Hellions, roasting a lot of those drones. Idra finally getting this around, but he took some pretty big losses right there. Let's take a look at the unit loss tab, and Idra still behind. He's been taking some pretty significant losses. Vikings now sitting with 2 kills, so grabbing those 2 Overlords that were doing some scouting. But here we go, mutas are in play. We have get the level 1 air upgrade coming through right now for Idra's units. 3 more mutas coming on through as well. Idra getting ready to finally return some of this harassment, moving in with those mutas, doing quite a bit of damage. There are not a lot of Marines, but this should be enough. These few Marines plus that Viking to shoo away what few mutas Idra has right now. But we'll be actually turning face, trying to engage, realizing that there are very few units, but with those missile turrets just about finished building, Idra realizing it is time to retreat. He has spotted, though, that the third is coming in. Might as well get some shots off. If nothing else, GoOdy could possibly repair this and lose resources, or just even soften it up for a future engagement. So Idra will be bouncing back and forth while he can, and here we go, some more mutas coming on in, and again with GoOdy going for such a quick third, does not really have enough anti-air to deal with these mutas. That is forcing GoOdy to lift this off, but here comes Thor, and the mutas a little bit clumped up, so we'll want to push away, and there we go. Finally, mutas are retreating. Nice work there by Idra. We can see again, now that he's taken out quite a few of those Marines, Idra feeling pretty comfortable with these Zerglings. He is breaking down those back rocks, and he could push in and do a bit of damage. We can see not a lot of defense there, but there we go. Infernal Pre-Igniter Hellions pushing out, realizing that the Zerglings were attacking those rocks, stopping that from happening. And look at this Muta Death Cloud. Idra sitting pretty strong right now with all of these Mutas. GoOdy should be concerned at this point in the game. His main base is pretty defenseless. He has got a few turrets, but that is really not enough to deal with this amount of Mutas. mutas. Now we do have the upgrades coming out. It looks like we do have double armory here for GoOdy, so he'll be churning those out. The speedling centrifugal hooks, those baneling centrifugal hooks coming out right now. And here we go, Idra going straight for those attachments, preventing any further double Hellions or any of those techie builds from coming out. And the Hellion, and then moving right on in. I'm sorry, the mutas moving right on into that resource line. I said Hellions because I saw them. Sorry for the Freudian slip there. Thor moving down to engage, getting a few shots off though. Idra with that good spread, not taking too much damage from there. It looks like there's a Banshee inside of the main base here for Idra though, doing a bit of damage. Idra pulling his guys off the line. Finally though, pulling back with these mutas. This Banshee doesn't stand much of a chance at all. Doesn't have cloak, so see you later. Getting a few more shots off. Now how are the numbers looking right now? Looks like Idra working his way to even things up. He was quite a bit further behind than he is right now, so catching back up to GoOdy, doing a bit of damage. And it looks like here we go, mutas will continue up the harassment. No Thor over here, so these turrets getting dropped quickly. Then we'll be going for the SCVs. SCVs are retreating though, and we'll just turn face and start hitting this orbital command here. Moving out with the Viking, that is not enough. 2 Thors, I'm not sure that is enough even if we saw some proper spread. And uh-oh, doesn't want to clump up. Time to retreat, spotting those 2 Thors. Lost a few mutas there, so yeah, not quite as strong as he could be with those muta numbers. A couple more mutas in over here, and wow, actually that's a lot. Hopefully Idra grabs those all up into one big control group and finally makes use of these idle mutalists right here, because that could certainly help the harassment. There we go. So pulling all of his mutas together right now and continuing to move across the map, and looks like he will actually be heading clear across to about the 3 to 2 o'clock position. Looks like he is probably checking for any possible expansions that GoOdy could be trying to hide. At the same time, we can see Idra has moved into his 4th, so finally getting back up. He does of course want that base advantage as opposed to what GoOdy has. And you know, GoOdy had opened up with some really nice harassment, but has been on his back foot for quite a while now, dealing with this muta harass here from Idra. And Idra doing a fantastic job, a little clumped up, wants to push away, because with 3 Thors en route, that could be some pretty quick heavy losses there for Idra. Idra is getting ready to make that transition. We can see the infestors coming on through, pathogen glands coming out for those infestors as well. He does have high tech coming in over here as well, so could be getting ready to switch into brood lords. A couple of Thors trying to defend pretty much each base right here, because that muta harassment is so devastating. But it looks like actually GoOdy getting ready to push out right now, feeling pretty comfortable with the amount of forces he has. At the same time, we can see Idra moving across the map, and he will probably start poking at the main base here of GoOdy, but needs to be careful because GoOdy is knocking at the front door here of Idra. Look at these spine crawlers sitting right in the middle of the map. Lots of speedlings here as well. Now here comes the push. Mutas taking out a couple of turrets, but it's time for them to head back home, because there's a big strong mech push right now coming from GoOdy, sieging up those tanks. Hellions at the front lines as well. A couple SCVs for some mass repairs here. And at the same time, counterattack from Idra going down into the main base here of GoOdy. He will actually be going straight into that 3rd expansion. Here comes that big mech. Strong push though, and does Idra have enough to engage with that? Mutas moving forward to get ready to engage speedlings here in the expansion, doing quite a bit of economic damage. And GoOdy looks like he will be continuing this push, trying to do as much as possible. Obviously, those mutas needs to be very wary about engaging those Thors. Now, we do have those infestors, and also the neuroparasite is just about finished. Zergling still going to town over here, and GoOdy taking very heavy economic losses, but still keeping up the strong push, shelling out that infestation pit. If he could kill that before the neuroparasite finishes, that is going to be a problem, and he does. So no neuroparasite right now. All these infestors can do is drop fungal growth. That tank line looking a little scary. Mutas again needs to be careful about clumping up against those Thors, and this is such a strong mech push here from GoOdy, catching a few Thors out of position, magic boxing right on top of them. Idra is supply blocked though, taking heavy overlord losses, trying to fungal growth that mech army. Really not the most effective of things. He really needed that neuroparasite, and I am a little bit worried right now for Idra. This is a very scary push. Zerglings just sitting idle right now. They have stopped all mining from that expansion. But I don't know that it matters, because I do not know that Idra has anything to deal with this giant mech force, and that's a little bit scary. Trying to mop up any reinforcements there. Idra sitting with those mutas. He does still have these few infestors, but again, fungal growth really not going to help him too much. He could try to drop him on those SCVs, but look at this mech army. It is fully healed up from those SCVs there, and Idra trying to find a good time to engage, and has he decided to do now? Needs to be. Look at that Thor damage. My gosh. Even with magic box and those fungal growths doing a lot of damage, but not anywhere near enough, and Idra calling the GG. GoOdy opened up with some fantastic Reaper harassment, trying to build this bunker. That unfortunately never got completed, but this Reaper able to get 9 kills before this harassment finished certainly helped GoOdy quite a bit in the early game. GoOdy followed up that opening Reaper harass with a Blue Flame Hellion drop. However, with this Overlord placement, Idra was able to spot it and properly defend this nicely placed Spine Crawler, as well as the Queen and a couple of Zerglings pretty much stopped those Hellions from doing any damage at all. With his third expansion up, Idra had some mutas in play and was finally able to return some of that harassment. We can see here working on that mineral line, was forced away eventually by these Marines and Vikings though. However, since GoOdy went for a quick third, he didn't have quite enough anti-air to deal with how many mutas Idra had, and we're going to see actually GoOdy being forced to lift off with this orbital command here. Idra kept up that muta harass for most of the game. However, with some quick response time, he never actually ended up doing too much damage to GoOdy. We can see sitting with some Thors and some missile turrets in play. He is actually able to defend himself before Idra can do too much damage. With a sizable force and tired of sitting in his base defending against muta harass, we saw GoOdy push out around the 17-minute in-game mark. And Idra, with a few Infestors, Mutas, and Speedlings, was actually waiting to engage GoOdy's mech push until he had the Neural Parasite finish. But as we see here, GoOdy is actually going to be able to take down that Infestation Pit before the Neural Parasite finishes, and that, in all honesty, is what lost Idra the game. Alright, so great game between these two players. A very sad turn of events for Idra. Idra was really in a good position, but losing that Infestation Pit was pretty devastating. As always, guys, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep watching and keep owning.